It was way back in December 1978. There I was, standing in the officer's ward of the Army Hospital in Bangalore, helplessly watching my mother knit a baby suit. How was I to tell her that there's no need to knit anymore? How could I tell her the truth? I didn't know, because I knew that she'll not be able to take the truth. And the truth was that the day my mother got operated, the same day my wife, Billy, who was 2,000 kilometers away in Delhi with her mom, had delivered a stillborn baby. I thought that I was caught in a dilemma between two loved ones. And it was very difficult that when I wanted to be with my wife to comfort her, I couldn't leave my mother alone in the hospital. While all this was happening, my brothers, my colleagues from ASMT, the army unit where I was posted then, were equally concerned. Colonel Naidu, the commandant, he used to often tease me and say, "Sushil, when are the twins coming?" And I would just smile blushingly. But today I had to tell him the truth. "Sir, they are not coming." He suddenly turned serious. There was pin drop silence. "Why? What happened?" I said, "Sir, Billy delivered a stillborn baby." "Then what the hell are you doing here?" I said, "Sir, you know my mother's in the hospital. What are we here meant for? We can look after her better than you can do. You go." Now, the very next day, it so happened that an Air Force friend of mine came and told me that there was an Air Force plane going to Delhi and I could get a lift in that. The airfares were very expensive those days, and this was a very lucrative offer. The plane was leaving next morning. It was already evening. I was excited and I wanted to leave to see my wife. I first went to some of my officer friends and asked them and their wives, "Will you take care of my mom when I'm not there?" And I remember Prema, one of the closer friends, she said, "What a stupid question. Isn't she our mother too? You go, we'll take care of her better than you do." Now was a tough time to go and break this news to my mother. I went to the hospital. As usual, she was knitting. I stood there, gathered my courage, and I said, "Mummy, I don't think you should be knitting anymore." She dropped the knitting on the bed and she looked up and she said, "Why? What happened?" I said, "We've lost the baby." She turned into sobs, and in those sobs, there was a quick conversation. "When?" I said, "A week ago." "You didn't tell me." "I couldn't." "You should have gone to Delhi." I said, "I couldn't have left you here." She says, "No, you go. The hospital takes care of me. You go." Next morning, I was in Delhi. When I landed home, my father and my uncle were aghast to see me. "How are you here?" I said, "I got a free lift in the Air Force plane, so I came to see Billy." "Leaving your mother all alone at home?" I said, "No, she's not alone. The army hospital takes good care, and so are my friends there." And my uncle says, "I have seen enough life. Friends are friends, and family is family." Well, I spent a week with Billy. It had been tough for me to be away from her when she needed me the most. But then, like a good army wife, she was understanding. On my return flight to Bangalore, I was wondering, how would my mother's response be? Would she have been cared for? Will my friends have taken care of her properly? From the airport, I rushed straight to the hospital. And when I landed there, she greeted me with a smile. And she says, "How is Billy?" I said, "She's fine." She says, "You know what? Your friends looked after me much better than you did." In that moment, it dawned on me that army was not just an institution. It was my family. They had supported me, they had taken care of me, they had stood by me and cared for my loved ones much better than what I could have ever imagined. A deep realization surfaced. I couldn't have ever in my life looked for a better, more caring and more loving family than my army family. Thank you.